Hi, everyone. I am David Lipton, creator of the podcast series The Reckoning, July 4th, 2030. I am introducing an experimental series of AI generated conversations, complements of Notebook LM. These conversations are based entirely on my podcasts. They are called the Deep Dive series. Just imagine two of your friends discussing my podcasts and enjoy the conversations.
Ever get that feeling like you're kind of stuck in your ways when it comes to politics?
Oh, absolutely.
Like you've got your beliefs and that's that. No budging.
Yeah, I think we all have those moments.
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. How we build those beliefs and if it's even possible to actually, change them.
Right.
And our guide for this whole thing is David Lipton's The Reckoning, July 4th, 2030. He throws out this idea, a political vision. Have you ever really stopped and thought about what you actually want the government to do?
It's one of those things, we all have it, this vision, even if we don't realize it, consciously. Basically, it's how you see the government's role in your life, in society as a whole. Should the government provide healthcare, for instance?
Right, or like how much should they regulate businesses?
Exactly. Those are the kinds of questions that get at your vision.
So it's all about finding that balance then, right?
Yeah.
Between individual freedom and, government involvement.
Exactly. And Lipton, he uses this really clever analogy to explain it, this circle of action. Okay, I remember this.
So picture all the stuff that happens in society, all the activities, as this big circle, right?
Okay, I'm picturing it.
One half, that's everything individuals can do. The other half, that's what the government handles. Every single policy decision, every law, it's basically like sliding the line that divides those two halves.
So the more the government takes on, the smaller our side of the circle gets.
Exactly.
He uses student loans as a really good example of this, right?
He does. And it's a perfect example because it gets complicated really quickly.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you hear that number, $1.7 trillion in total student loan debt.
It's mind-boggling.
It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah. And what's even crazier is that 93% of that's federal loans. That shows you how much the government's involved in just this one area.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're already getting into some, seriously murky water here, right?
We are.
Because on the surface, loan forgiveness, it sounds like a great solution.
It does. But Lipton, he makes you think twice about what might actually happen because of it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like, are there consequences we're not thinking about?
Right, exactly. It's like we're trying to fix one problem, but we could be accidentally creating a brand new one in the process. And Lipton's argument is, this happens a lot, like with the loans. Who's really benefiting from forgiveness? Is it actually the people who need it most? And then the big one, how do we even pay for this in the long run?
Right.
It's not so simple.
It's like we jump right into these debates about the solutions,
Oh, absolutely.
without taking the time to really ask the deeper questions. Like with this whole student loan thing,
Right.
is a college degree like the only path to success? Should everyone be expected to go to college no matter what? Lipton, he really makes you think twice about those assumptions we have.
He does. He argues that if you look beneath these specific policy debates, right, what you often find are these much deeper beliefs about, like social justice, fairness, these bigger ideas.
Right.
What does equality actually mean in this context?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Are we okay with, maybe sacrificing some individual choice for what we think is the greater good?
And is it actually leading to, those good outcomes, those things we want to see? Lipton doesn't hold back, man. He calls out policies that he sees as straight up failures.
He does not.
Which I appreciate that,
Oh, yeah. He's very direct.
He's got this one line. It's like, we're not just kicking the can down the road anymore.
Yeah.
We are piling up huge boulders for future generations to deal with.
It's a powerful image, isn't it?
It is.
And it really gets to the core of what he's arguing. If we actually want to change course, we have to be honest, right?
Yeah.
With ourselves about what's working and what's not.
Absolutely.
And that brings us to this central question that Lipton asks in the book, and it's a big one. How do we change these deeply ingrained political visions we have, both, in ourselves and then as a society?
It almost feels personal when you put it that way.
It is personal.
Like, am I even willing to admit when I'm wrong? When something I really believed in, it's just not panning out the way I thought it would.
It's tough.
Yeah, it is.
It's not easy, and Lipton gets that. He offers these 3 key things we can do to at least start to, shift these beliefs we've had for so long.
Okay.
First, and this is a big one, he says we got to acknowledge the failures.
Ooh.
Like, really be honest with ourselves. Are there policies out there that just aren't delivering on their promises?
So step one, admit when we're wrong.
Exactly.
Ouch. All right, that's a tough one. What's next?
So step two, after we admit maybe we got something wrong, we got to look at our assumptions.
Okay.
What do we actually believe
Yeah.
about the role of government, about personal responsibility? These are fundamental questions.
Yeah.
They shape how we see the entire world.
Our whole worldview.
Exactly. Including, our political views.
So less arguing about like specific policies.
Yes.
And more like understanding the values underneath it all.
Exactly. Understanding why we believe what we believe.
Oh.
And then finally, Lipton says we got to overcome this inertia.
This inertia.
Yeah, it's easy to stick with what we know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's comfortable.
Right? Even when it's clearly not working.
It's familiar.
Exactly.
Sure.
Change is hard. But if we don't do anything, we're just letting those boulders pile up, you know?
And we're the ones who are going to get crushed.
Well, maybe not us, but
Yeah, fair point. Future generations.
exactly. And here's the kicker.
Okay.
Lipton, he's not even sure real change is possible.
Oh, wow.
Like, he leaves us wondering, are we all just too set in our ways, too resistant to actually questioning what we think we know?
So are we doomed? Is that what he's saying? It
Yeah.
kind of makes you think twice, you know?
It does.
Like, are we all just spinning our wheels here with politics? Is anything really going to change?
That's a valid question, for sure.
But then Lipton, he also says something else that really stuck with me.
Okay, what's that?
He says that every choice we make, every vote, it all comes back to that political vision we were talking about.
Right.
Even if we don't, like, consciously realize it in the moment.
It's there, influencing us.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this underlying force shaping everything.
It really is. It's about recognizing, that with every decision, there's a trade-off.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Like, more government action, sure, it sounds great in some areas.
Right, right.
But it could also mean, what? Less individual freedom.
Oh, yeah. Or those unintended consequences that Lipton warns about.
Exactly. It's never as simple as it seems. There's no easy answer.
So what are we supposed to do then?
Well, I think for me, it starts with awareness.
Okay.
Like being aware of our own biases, our own assumptions.
Yeah.
That's where it all begins.
It makes you wonder, though, like, how can we even talk about this stuff?
Oh, I know, right?
I mean, without it turning into, like, a political screaming match.
Right. It's so polarized.
Lipton, he doesn't sugarcoat it, He paints a pretty, what's the word?
Sobering.
Yeah, sobering picture.
It's true. But, from where I sit, from what I've seen, I do think there's still hope.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's not about finding some, magic solution. I don't think that exists.
Right.
Lipton's work, what it does is it highlights how important individual reflection is.
So looking inward first.
Exactly. Being willing to, challenge our own beliefs, even the ones we really, really hold on to.
Oh, yeah. Even when it's uncomfortable.
That's the key, though, that willingness to be uncomfortable. I really think that's the starting point. If we can do that, if we can get to that place,
Then what? What happens?
then maybe, just maybe,
Yeah.
we can actually start to bridge some of these divides,
Okay.
find some common ground. It's not impossible.
It's about being open, right, to the possibility that, hey, maybe we don't have all the answers.
Exactly. And being willing to listen to perspectives that are different from our own.
And maybe even being willing to change our minds.
There you go.
Well, on that note, I think that's something for everyone to think about. If you want to go even deeper on this whole idea of political vision and how it shapes our world, check out The Reckoning, July 4th, 2030 by David Lipton. It's a really thought-provoking read, and who knows, it might just change how you see the political landscape.